सनो भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति Verse 5. Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. These gunas, qualities born of Prakriti, matter, bind the indestructible embodied to the body, O Mahabahu. Mahabahu means the mighty arm. In the when they're describing a man, this description of a man always goes based on their shoulder, their strength. Same way, he says this Mahabahu means who is a handsome, we say in English. Handsome. Handsome means you are a handsome person when you stand. When you put your hands down, the hand should touch your knee. That's a mighty arm person. It's not only that. It means it's a much capable hand. It looks very handsome, and it will not come. Don't try. They see this Mahabahu means the one who has a long, capable hands. It's not just the length of it. It means he is such a capable person. He is very dynamic. He is strong and dynamic. So he says this Mahabahu, mighty arm. Arjuna, please understand. What you need to understand? 2 points you need to understand with reference to this Prakriti. This guna have 2 common denominators for the 3 gunas. Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. All 3 gunas has 2 things in common. One is all 3 has the same source. That's the Prakriti. Prakriti is the source for all the 3 gunas. Same way, all the 3 gunas bind. The nature of binding will change, but all 3 binds. There is bondage, he says. So 2 aspects were explained here. And generally, when we understand a guna, we always understand a guna with respect to a particular object, and that has a quality. See, we never understand quality independently. Yeah. Quality is always associated with the object. Good quality, steel. Good quality, gold. You can understand that. But plain, if we say good quality, it will just stand in your mind as just a sound. a bad quality, mediocre. You can never understand these three words without an object. See, that's what he is saying here. The property of an object, property in that object. A particular property in that object is what is referred to as guna. That guna binds, that quality binds. What is a bondage? It binds you to this and makes you believe that it is what the reality is. See, that's why it is binding. Binds whom? It binds, correct. It binds who? And to what? Who it binds and to what it binds. That is answer he gives. Binds the indestructible embodied to the body. It binds who? The indestructible embodied. To what? To dehe. To the deha. To the indestructible embodied is the self. Because in the relative sense, maybe we can take it as jiva. But in the real sense, indestructibility is the quality of Atman. See, so the self which is indestructible is bound to the body which is destructible. Body perishes. Self is imperishable. That is the meaning of self. Right? How we define the self is it is imperishable. It never perishes. Body perishes. The problem we have is that the self and the body got mixed up so much so that we started believing body to be Atma. Therefore, when I say self is imperishable, you don't really understand it. Even though we say, yeah, I wish it is imperishable, sir, but I wish, I am imperishable. But why you are not able to digest that fact is because right now you are bound already. The bondage has happened. After the bondage has happened, we are having this study. So right now, according to you, what are you? Your body. Yeah. You are not even jiva. You are body. You are this personality, not the individuality. Right now you carry this Dehatma Bhava, we call it as. From Dehatma Bhava to Jivatma Bhava you have to go. And then you have to come to Atma Bhava. But the problem we are having today is that I believe I am this body. When I believe I am this body, and you say I am the self, so I am the body, I am the self, body perishes, therefore self perishes. Correct? Makes sense no to you? Because it is a simple syllogism, this is. Simple inference. So we say, but then the Shastra comes and says, the self is imperishable, indestructible embodied. The indestructibility of the self, how are you going to understand? You can never understand it, you can only become it. Remember, that's an impossibility to understand. If someone comes and says, "Yeah, I have understood the self is imperishable," na, he is lying. Because intellect is incapable of understanding it. At best, you can say a belief. I'm convinced it should be, but it is. Could it be? To it could be. To it should be. To it is. You have to progress like that. Straight away, you can't jump into saying, yeah, it is imperishable. The self is bound, as it were. Remember, self cannot be bound to the body. How can the imperishable be bound by the perishable? It's an impossibility. But such an impossibility has happened. How it has happened? Impossible. But an impossibility has happened. How can an impossibility be happens? That's what he says in Maya Pancha. Agatita Gatana, Patiyasi Maya. That's how it works. Maya. One of the meaning of the Maya is making possible an impossibility. It is impossible. That is why we say it is as it were. So complicated for us to understand. That's why he gives a beautiful example. See, you take a iron piece, a magnet piece, and a wooden piece. Right? There are three pieces now: iron, magnet, wood. When you take the wooden piece closer to the magnet, what happens? Nothing happens. When you take the iron piece closer to the magnet, influenced, gets attracted. Right? Iron piece gets attracted to the magnet. Wooden piece doesn't get attracted to the magnet. Now I tie the iron piece and the wooden piece. Now when I take it closer to the magnet, what will happen? Iron and wooden piece together gets influenced. Correct. Now can you say, sir, since I am seeing the wooden piece now moves towards the magnet, therefore can you say wooden piece gets influenced by the magnet? Wooden piece appears to have been influenced by the magnet because it is tied to the iron piece. If iron is not there, if it is not tied to the iron piece, it will not get. Even though it is appearing to be getting influenced, in reality, it is not. Same thing here. Right? That Atman is appeared to have been bound. This bondage is what? This influence is because of what? Because of this tying. The tying up is what is explained here. How come these qualities are there, sir? Because all this, everything has emerged from that Prakriti. All these elements have been born out of that Prakriti, right? Since it is born of Prakriti, whatever is there in Prakriti will be there in the product also. Yeah. What is there in the cause has to be there in the effect. The cause is mud. Out of that mud, you make a pot. The pot will carry what? All the properties of the mud the pot has to carry. It is impossible that the pot is away from the clay. The pot can never be away from clay. Pot can be away from the pot maker. You're all with me? In the creation of a pot, there are two things. There is clay, and there has to be a pot maker who is making that pot. Without a pot maker, clay by itself will not become a pot. Not possible. Pot maker alone by himself cannot create a pot also. He needs a clay. So for the creation of pot, there are two things. One is the pot maker and clay. Put together is equal to pot. Now, after the clay has been transformed into a pot, it can be away from the pot maker. It will still exist without the pot maker. But then, is it possible for the pot to be away from clay? It's an impossibility. It will always carry that clay along with it. And that is the meaning of bond. It is bound. It is born of Prakriti. These gunas were born of Prakriti. Since it is born out of Prakriti, whatever is there in Prakriti, it will carry. What is a Prakriti? Prakriti has these three qualities in it. Thus, we are able to understand it's a combination of Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. So first he has explained what is common. What is a common denominator for the three gunas? So anytime you think of the three gunas, remember these 2 points. All the three gunas bind, and all the three gunas has the source, the cause, from where it comes. It doesn't come from the self. It comes from Prakriti. Prakriti is what we call as avidya, ignorance, deep sleep, etc. Vasana, all these things. Different context we use different words. But all these things refer to the same entity. Like someone will call me a father, another person will call me a son. Another person will call me neighbor, citizen. Citizen is different, father is different, son is different, student is different, teacher is different. Right? But all that is referring to the same entity. So don't say teacher is equal to student. No, teacher is not equal to student. Ishwaran, from one side, he is a teacher. To one person, he is a teacher. To another person, he is a student. So what is Ishwaran? Father, plus son, plus citizen, plus neighbor, plus teacher, plus student, plus. It goes on. Still, it will not be complete. You see? Similarly, this Prakriti or this avidya is the source of the three gunas. So from where it comes, it is not coming from the self, it is coming from ignorance. Right, avidya, or take it as Prakriti. So he uses the word Prakriti, so you also maintain that same word. Don't keep changing it. Because if you change, you will get into confusion. So Purusha is standing separately, Prakriti is standing. Out of Prakriti comes, or in that Prakriti, these three gunas exist. And as long as they are inside that Prakriti, you will never be able to identify the presence of the guna. Right? How ignorant a man, how do you identify? The moment he starts talking, you will know. Correct. So long as you are not talking, you look like what? A very wise man. Brilliant. You, you look so intelligent. That's why they say, wise men talk less. Absolutely wise men don't talk. Otherwise, men will give lecture. Every Sunday morning they have to talk. Man of wisdom will not speak. That doesn't mean all those who speak don't have wisdom. Okay. Converse is not true. How do you know a man is wise or ignorant? They say, allow him to speak for 10 minutes. Discount first 5 minutes. See, discount first 5 minutes. And then start listening. So anyone who talks, what you should do? That doesn't mean you come to class after 5 minutes. Yeah. You will not make any difference. You can come in the very first beginning, or you come last 5 minutes also you can come. You will go back the same way. They talked about and about. I came out of the same door I went in. Work out. How do you know? How do we know that Prakriti has got these three gunas? Only when they manifest. So long as they have not manifested, you will never know whether it has the three gunas, from where it comes, what it comes as. See? So here we have to just go by the declaration of this masters. We just declare Prakriti is the source. Prove it to me. He will say, prove it to me that it is not the source. You prove to me that it is not Prakriti, it is something else. Then I will withdraw my statement. It's impossible for you to disprove. If he cannot prove, nor can you disprove. Since you cannot disprove that statement, the only option you have is what? Take it or leave it. Right? Only option is this. Either you take it or leave it and get out. If you have taken that, you move in one direction. You leave it and go another direction. Consequences will be different. So that's all he says here. Is this Prakriti is the source of the gunas. And you can never understand the gunas unless they manifest. Right? So now what he is doing is, he is explaining how that guna manifests, and through that manifestation, how it binds. You see? So first he says, the source is Prakriti. Now you will never understand that statement, but you can understand the manifestation of it. So how that guna manifests, expression of that guna, and how that is going to be binding you. How sattva binds, how Rajas binds and how Tamas binds. Right? Yes.
So this example of the clay and the pot, clay may serve as Prakriti, the pot would be Deha.
Pot is a samsara. Pot is the world, the samsara. The Dehatma Bhava is the pot. This is the consequence. Verse 6.
Tatra sattvam nirmalatvam prakashamamayam
Sukha-sankena Bhadnati
jnana-sangena charaka tatra sattvam nirmalatvam
Prakashakamanayam
sukha-sangena bhadnati jnana-sangena charaka.
of these tatra, there, of this sattva being stainless is luminous and healthy. It binds through attachment to happiness and attachment to knowledge, O Anaga. Aga means sin. Anaga means sinless. It's another name of Arjuna. Calls Arjuna as sinless one. No, stainless. So stainless, Anaga, understand sattva being stainless is luminous and healthy. Gives the manifestation. How, what is sattva and how it binds. These are the 2 points in verse number 6. Like we saw in verse 5, 2 points. Same way in verse 6, 7, 8 also he gives 2 points. What are the 2 points is only these 2 things. What is it and how they bind. What is sattva, what is rajas, what is tamas. How sattva binds, how rajas binds, how tamas binds. So what is the nature of sattva? Sattva is of the nature of being stainless. Nirmalatva. Mala is stain. Nirmala is no stain. And because it is stainless, it is prakasha. Sattva being stainless, it is luminous, and he says anamayam. Anamaya means no disease. There's no diseases. Now, since it is no disease, it is translated as healthy in a positive way. To put it in the stricter terminology, we have to call it as no disease. There is no disease there. The illness not at the level of the body, please. There is no illness at the thought level. There is no mental illness. Manasa roga, call it. There is no mental illness. That lack of that mental illness, absence of that mental illness radiates in the body in a particular way. See, that's what is Yoga Shastra will call it as Ojas. It's referred to as Ojas. The healthy. at the body level. And Tejas. That Ojas and Tejas put together is called as healthy here. Anamaya. It radiates. Healthy. Why it is healthy? Because it is Sattva Guna that takes you to liberation. Directs you towards liberation. What facilitates you to move in the direction of development, growth, liberation, freedom is Sattva Guna. Therefore, it is treated as a healthy attitude, healthy thought, healthy one. Sattva Guna is healthy. And not only that Sattva is, it is Prakasha, luminous. Luminous means the power to know. Not luminous, light. The power to know. The light will, the light has the tendency, light reveals the things as they are. Provided, class. Provided there is no obstruction. No. Provided there is no obstruction. Generally, it's an assumption. We say light reveals. We say, when we make that statement, as understood is what? It has no obstruction. Like we see the stage, the performance is going on, they have the lights. But suddenly, when they are showing that, the Bharatanatyam, they will be showing, how Narsimha comes and, tears open the Hiranyakashipu and all drama only, dance only it is, not really happening. Suddenly you see the whole thing gets reddish. Why? Imagine Rasa Leela, they show red. Rasa Leela, Radha and Krishna is, dancing and enjoying in the banks of Yamuna river. They are enjoying there. Now suddenly you show red there. They'll say switch off. That's why they use a butter paper. See, various colors of butter paper they keep. More the color of that butter paper, the light will, the appearance is very different. The Sattva Guna is stainless, which means what? No obstruction, no distortion, nothing. Therefore, it is luminous. Right? Nirmalatva. What is a mala? Mala is only two things. The Rajasic way of living and the Tamasic way of living is called Malam. Malam means that. Rajas and Tamas. Otherwise, you will totally misunderstand. Like, this Paramartha Guru story they show. That you should remember as an example. All the instructions. The Guru gives a specific instruction to the student. I've kept milk. Ensure that no cat comes and spills it. Drinks and goes, okay. The Guru goes. He finishes his lecture and comes back. And he sees the whole thing is empty. They say, I told you fellows not to take care. Sir, what is the instruction you gave? What is the instruction I gave? Told you not to take care. The cat may come and drink. Sir, we ensured cat didn't come, but the dog came. That you did tell no. You say, this luminous. Okay. You say one, now you understand something else. It's essentially what the teacher has told you. That is forgotten. But then one thing he referred casually. What is that? This is what is referred. So you hold on to that. Vedant, tamas and rajas, mala. Nirmalatva is there is a clarity. How do you get that clarity? Clarity is what is leading you towards liberation and freedom. Therefore, it is healthy. So, foundation is what now? Nirmalatvat is the foundation. Because it is Nirmala, it is luminous and healthy. See? So, 3 points you should remember. Sattva, anytime. It is stainless, luminous, healthy. The power to know, the power to understand things. Right. And then he moves to the next idea. The next idea he says is, even though it has all these things, that also binds. It binds to what? Beautiful thing, he says. It binds through attachment to happiness, sukha, and jnana, knowledge. You get attached to this sukha, happiness, and knowledge. You need to be extraordinarily brilliant to say that. See, something which is nirmala, something which is luminous, something which is healthy, he says also binds. See, what a classic thinking it has to be. These are all heights of thinking. Very difficult to register, very difficult to understand. Sattva also binds. To what it binds? It binds you to knowledge. Never be satisfied with how much ever you study. That's Sattva. You study, you study, you study, you study, and study, and study. Sage Bharadwaja. He was doing tapas. And Shiva appeared. What do you want? I want 1,000 years of life. For what? I said, this Rigveda, I started, I have not completed. So I would like to complete. So I think it will take over 1,000 years. But okay. And then, another 1,000 years. Again he did tapas. Again Jiva appeared. Now what? Extension. Extend a bit. Okay, extend it. 4 times he appeared, Shiva. And all the time Bharadwaja is saying the same thing. Says, not that he is interested in anything else. He said, I started something, I want to complete it. I don't want to die without completing it. So please, extend. Extension. Like that, he has already covered over 4,000 years. Thinking that he is going to complete it. That is the time, Shiva created this Vedagiri, the mountain, and took a lump from the handful. From there he took and gave it to Bharadwaja. 4,000 years we have studied this much. What is left out is so much. Tell me how many years you want. He said, forget it. You decide whatever. I leave it to you, he said. That's Sattva. See, only a Sattvic fellow will have that. He wants to have, in order to study more, study more, study more, study more. Not teach. Right? Not teaching, please. Teaching more and more is for, name, fame, power, position, all these things. Chumma. I'm interested only teaching. Etha. Means he doesn't understand what he's speaking. I'm not talking about the teaching part, please. We're talking about just learning. Learning something. And you will go on and on and on that. Now, how do you know you are really keen on knowledge? The day next to your exam, what do? Will show whether you have sattva or not. You completed exam, board exam over. Next day, what are you going to do? If you have sattva, it will not make any difference. Whether it is board exam over or board exams running or next one is happening, there is no such thing. You will just go on and on. Na sattva. Sattvic person. You will go on studying. You will never be satisfied with how much ever you study. Na sattva, he says. Of course, by this, what it does, it has a tendency to bind you to this. You need to bring in a different attitude to take this study and reflection as a stepping stone. You can't bypass. See, you can't bypass it. You have to take that. But then, in that process, what is the possibility? This andam thamav praveshanti vidyam upasate. Isavasya Upanishad. Those who are reveling in the world, they're in andam tamaha, means blinding darkness. Andam tamaha means blinding darkness. So those who are worshipping avidya, they're in blinding darkness. And those who are worshipping vidya, they're in greater darkness. How can there be something which is greater than blinding darkness? If he says they are in darkness and they are in blinding darkness, we can understand. He has already stated that. He has already dismissed people who are involved with the world. They are in blinding darkness. What is greater than blinding darkness? Adan sattva. See, the sattva guna, what it does, it makes you, it's so enchanting. This path of knowledge is so enchanting, so enchanting. It's not easy to get out. It's almost impossible. Almost impossible it is. First of all, you should get the taste of it and then get addicted to that. And then comes getting out of it. Now you are yet to taste it. Just because you come and sit in the class doesn't mean you are having, we are all Sattvic people, sir. Please. That's why he defines Sattva first. Nirmalatva. Nirmala or full of mal. Your whole lifestyle is what? That lifestyle is full of rajas and tamas. There is a chance of you to be entertaining this. So first you need to start, then develop it, then make it a dominant aspect of your personality, and then get out of it. So sattva is not easy. But then he says sattva has a tendency to bind you. Why it binds? Sattva binds, he says. Why it binds? The bondage problem with sattva is that the reflected knowledge, that pure knowledge is mistaken for reflected knowledge. See, the pure knowledge, which is the pure consciousness, the pure awareness, is mistaken for a thought of consciousness. See, it's just a thought. We call it as a vritti. In Sanskrit, thought is a vritti. Every knowledge that you gain is a thought. Right? That every knowledge that you have, which is a thought, the thought is itself is so enchanting. The thought of consciousness itself is so enchanting, so pleasing, so satisfying. That's why you find these people know in the house when the old man does puja, everybody should be quiet. Because after he comes out of puja, he will always be agitated. He never comes out, with bliss. He comes out with agitation. Why? We criticize it without realizing what is going on, what is happening. Our problem is how to move from sound to silence. His problem is how to come out of silence to sound. You will never understand that. You cannot be quiet. It is an impossibility for you to be quiet. It is so difficult for you. It is much more difficult for him to get attuned to sound. It's almost impossible. See, that's why that agitation is much more. That's why they say be quiet. Not because he is a frustrated fellow. No, we think, oh, be quiet, be quiet. It's not out of frustration, please. It's not that. It is actually a real psychological scenario that happens. The one who's attuned to quietude will get addicted to quietude. Because the tendency of the mind is what? Anything which is pleasing, it will get addicted to, get attached to. Attachment, addiction. Can't live without it. That's called addiction. You're addicted to. How do you know you are addicted? How do you know you are attached? You can't live without it. See, he is so attuned to quietude, very difficult for him to stand noise after that. So tough. That's why all this, the spiritual sadhaks and all retreat into forests, mountains, forests, caves. They go there. They don't mingle in the society. They don't transact with the society. If they transact with the society, either he will destroy the society or he will get destroyed by the society. One of that will happen. That's why you got to be very careful in dealing with people. I remember this Swami in Ramakrishna Ashram in Chennai, he told me this. In school, I used to go to that, Malapur. You go there and see that Swami. Is a beautiful advice he gave. Don't keep coming here often. Don't keep talking to all these people. Speaking all to the, all the Swamis, all seniors, all senior Swamis, not just a junior Swami there. It's all senior Swamis. Because as a school boy, they would allow me. It was an entertainment for them also. So I would go and sit there and all. I don't keep talking to them. I said, why? A brahmachari, grahastha should not transact with swamis. You should transact with a grahastha. Don't transact with a sannyasi. It will not work out. I said. I'll say it in Tamil. Then I'll tell you. Vattadara. Beautifully he said. That word still, rings in ears. Yes. Vattadara. Don't. Vattadara, they don't stick. English it doesn't get that thing. It doesn't gel, it doesn't stick together. Summa. It's okay only. You can't get that original. So Vattadara. Either you will get destroyed or you will destroy him. Either you will get spoiled or he will get spoiled. It's a different mindset. See, you can stand, admire, fall at their feet, move out. Take their blessings and walk out. Don't transact. If you transact with them, a businessman will convert that sannyasi into a businessman, or this businessman will become a sannyasi. Not fit. It's not danger. With what you associate. That associations, any associations that you have, if it is enchanting, and the mind has a weakness for anything which is enchanting to get attached to, addicted to. Local things, when they are giving joy, you get attached. It's a supreme joy. Jnanam and sukha. It's not happiness. It's that there's no translation. Happiness doesn't give that joy, happiness. These words don't come anywhere near that sukha. Like there are few, musicians when they sing. You listen to that, it's rhythmic. And there are musicians who sing. You listen to that, you get agitated. You get more of agitation than it's not sukha. That's why when you invite people, you give them sukhasana. Sukhasana, comfortable seat. Sukhasana. That's the first thing we do. Avakana. When you do any puja, first thing you do is give them a seat to sit. So Sukhasana should be there, comfortable. It's a comfort. Anything that is comfort. Think, what is comforting? The spiritual practices are so comforting, so enchanting, so nice. This satsanga is such a joy. Always remember, associate with someone who's intelligent. Thinking of them, you will get it. It's unbelievable. See, we have this Cyber 63, 9 months are there. Devotees. Right. In that 63, there is one fellow who is not a devotee of Shiva. He doesn't go to temple, he doesn't do anything. And that fellow, only thing he had was he said he has heard of a devotee's name, Tirunavukar. He has heard about it. And he started developing such a great devotion to him. Everything has been the name of Tirunavukar. Child born, first son, Tirunavukar 1. Second son is born, Tirunavukar 2. Another fellow has a car, Tirunavukar car. You will not say this car, that car, and all. He has a mattress, Tirunavukar mattress. Anything in his house, the name is only one. What is it? Tirunavukar. That fellow attained Mukti before Tirunavukar. This fellow had to wait at the age of 83. He attained Mukti at the age of 83. With so much of testing. Right. Shiva did so much of testing for Tirunavukar. Fascinating story of what all tests at the age of 83 for him to take to Mukti. This guy, Appu Diyadi, he is not a great devotee of Shiva. He has never been a devotee of Shiva. But he has been a devotee of his devotee Tirunavukar. That fellow got it first. Tirunavukar gets it last. Unbelievable. Yes. How they get it. That association is so enchanting. It's fascinating to see. Just that association. Anything which is enchanting, there is a tendency to get attached. The height is that knowledge of the self. You can get addicted to knowledge in the local mathematics, physics. Economics we don't consider. Management, so addicting. Psychology, addiction. Tarkashastra, it's addictive. Or this art, dance, or this painting, or music, it's addictive. The problem is you should get attuned to it first. Attunement happens if you have sattva guna in you. And as the sattva grows, what will happen? You get more and more attuned. In the name of attunement, there is always a possibility that you can get attached to it. And you will get attached. There's no way you can get detached. Don't ask me how to get detached and all that now. Right? That's not the purview here. How to get detached from that self. First you get attached, then we'll talk about it. Other qualities, when we go, you will see. This is alien quality. Atman, Sattva, alien to you. Right? You hear about it and leave it. You can connect only to two things. Rajas and Tamas. So don't worry about how to get over it. But he says, you will get attached. Verse number 6. So 6, definition. What is the meaning of Sattva and how it binds. It binds through getting yourself attached to Sukha and getting yourself attached to knowledge. Right? We'll do Rajas and Tamas, then we will come back and see the comparison. Okay? We will do like that. Yes, sir.
The word stateless.
Ah.
Yes, sir. State. State is Rajas, Tamas.
Rajas and tamas is the stain. This is like I gave the example of butter paper. There are transparent butter papers. Right? Even though it is obstruction, it is not actually obstruction. It's like the glass. Even though it is there in between my eyes and you, it's not actually obstructing my vision. Isn't it? Same way, sattva is an obstruction. But is it an obstruction to see? No. It actually makes it clear. Why? Because there is no coloring to it. The coloring is Rajas and Tamas. Right? Cooling glass. I can see, you can't see me. Dark glass. Sometimes they put a dark black one. You may keep your eyes open, but you will not see anything. It's all black to you. You can't see anything. That is Rajas and Tamas. Sattva is a transparent glass. See, there is transparency to it. Since it is transparent, it is luminous. Since it is luminous, it is healthy. It takes you towards liberation. But however, it has a problem. What is the problem of that? You will get attached to, it binds you through getting attached to knowledge. Knowledge of what? You see, knowledge, correct. Knowledge of what? Why we don't include knowledge of economics in this? In the course I said, we don't include economics. Why? What's wrong with economics knowledge? Don't you need economics as a? It's also a field of knowledge, no? But I did include mathematics. Maths no? Apart from Vedanta, nothing will take you. Okay. But then I added, that's how you should listen. I'm only telling you how you should listen. I don't simply say things and move. It's not that I am, they're very, very much prejudiced. He doesn't like economics. I studied economics. Right. It's not that you don't like economics. Economics is not management. I said no. Yeah. Why? Sorry? Little more detail. Pure science, applied science. Good. When you cannot comprehend, how will you connect to it? Of course, it is abstract. Why we are calling it as abstract? Because pure science, abstract, all this has one property, one quality. What is it? It's very difficult to attach a utility tag to it. You see, very difficult. Pure science, very difficult to attach a utility value. What's the use of it? Whereas economics and management and all these subjects has a direct utility. There's a usefulness to it. You're studying pure physics, what's going to happen? Mathematics. That's why most of the time we never understand, sir, how am I going to use vectors, integral calculus, Allah, where have you used? Only, if you are going to do engineering, you have to use it. If I'm not going to study engineering, I don't have to use it. Therefore, why should I study? There's no usefulness to it. Very difficult for you to attach a utility to it. Therefore, difficult to get attuned. In that, if you go subtler and subtler and subtler, at least psychology, there is a utility. You see, there is a direct utility to it. Logic is far more. Not just because it is difficult. Generally, when we say abstract, we connect it to the difficulty of it. It's not the difficulty of the subject piece. Any subject, any piece of knowledge is not easy. Stock market easy, yeah? Huh? Sit and have a discussion with someone who is dealing with stock market, you will know how complex it is. There is a clarity of certainty when it comes to mathematics. Here, nothing is certain. Why it goes up, we don't know. Why it comes down, we don't know. Somebody resigns from the company. Stock goes. One fellow resigns, now stock has to go. How do you know? Such a risky one. It has calculations. Remember, any subject for that matter, when you go deeper, needs a lot of effort. So all knowledges are equal in that way. But then there is one thing which is so unique. That is the direct utility of that knowledge. Can you convert that knowledge into a tool? Very difficult when it comes to these subjects. In that, if you go subtler and subtler and subtler and subtler and subtler, finally you land with the knowledge of the self. Now, what is the utility you are going to have with the knowledge of the self? Finally, you are going to know what? I am the self. By knowing that, what is going to happen? Okay, by not knowing that, what has happened in your life? Nothing has happened. No, your life is going as usual, right? Imagine that you stop attending the classes, right? You stop gaining this knowledge. What is going to happen to you? Will you die? Nothing will happen. In fact, your family will be more happy. Opa, at least now you understood. Isn't it? Now, what is the problem of not having it? What is the advantage of having it? Not knowing economics is more complex. Nowadays, that's what they say. The students should be taught financial intelligence first. You guys are teaching all unnecessary things, man. First thing you should teach them is these things. Why? Utility. Anything which has a utility, you pursuing that branch of knowledge is pursued not because you are interested in the subject, you are interested in the utility of it. What is the use of it? See, what is driving force? Imagine by having it, nothing is going to happen. By not having it, your life is not going to be in trouble. Still, you should give your entire personality for that. Will you do it? Suddenly we saw people studying, Chinese language. Why? Huh? Why? Not because you are interested in that. You are interested in business. And your business possibilities are more in China, you believe. Therefore, what you do, even if I learn, broken few words here and there, is enough, sir. I can impress those guys. Thereby, I will get the contract. So, your pursuit of Chinese language is not because you are interested in that language, you are interested in the using that for something. One knowledge which you can never use, it's of absolutely no use. Prapanna parijataya, thotra vetraika pandu, jnana mudraya krishnaya, gita amrutatu vedama. What is he doing? One hand he is holding a stick, other hand he is doing jnana mudra. You can do whatever you want. With Krishna, when Duryodhana and Arjuna approached Krishna, what is the offer he gave? One side I will stand, unarmed, I will not fight the battle. On the other hand, I give my entire battalion, one Akshoni, invincible army of Krishna. For what both the fellows approached? For the battlefield, what is needed? Someone who is willing to fight. Yeah. This fellow says what? I will give my entire army one side. Suppose if he says I will stand on the other side and fight, then we can say, yeah, correct, of course. Krishna is fighting now, obviously. It is. Imagine Krishna would have been part of the Kurukshetra war. Okay? It would have been over in 15 minutes. Just to assemble. One fellow will die, immediately reassemble. That's why it would have taken that much time. Otherwise, it would have been just a matter of few minutes. It would be over. But this fellow gives offer is what? What a great offer he gives her. I will be alone, other side, unarmed. For a battlefield, what you need? Someone who will take up arms and fight. He says, I will be there on your side, but I will not fight, I will not participate in the fight. Then for what you are? அதுதான் பிரம்ம வித்யா. Krishna Brahma Vidya. Brahma Vidya is what now? You cannot use it. It is of no use actually speak. If you have to win the battle, you have to win the battle with your skill. Success in this world is going to be achieved by your skill. The skill alone will produce the result. Remember, it is Arjuna, who is a man of action alone, can produce the success in the battlefield. What did Krishna do there? He is just there. That's all it is. Believe. What an offer. Because when Krishna gave that offer, he did not tell him, I will be your charioteer and all these things also. I will give you advice. That also he didn't say. When he offered it what? I'm not going to give you advice. I will be your charioteer. I will teach you Bhagavad Gita. Allah, he didn't promise. He just said, I will be on your side. But I will not fight. I will not take up arms and fight. Adhan, this knowledge. When you are having sattva, you will be attracted to that knowledge. Which knowledge? A knowledge which is non-utilitarian by nature, or so difficult to convert that into utilitarian. Not easy. That's why I gave you the example of mathematics, physics, one side, economics and management on the other side. Economics and management is, by nature, it is utilitarian. Mathematics is so difficult. You have to convert that into utilitarian. That's where you have pure science and applied science. You have to convert it. In that conversion, only utility is. See, Brahma Vidya, how will you convert? Aham Brahmasmi, that's all it is. What is there to convert? You are the self means you are the self, full stop. You are that immortal self. That's all it is. Now, what to do now? Okay, by knowing that, what will happen? We don't say you will become immortal. You will understand that you are immortal always. At least if we say, if you gain this knowledge, you will become immortal, we can understand. Then there is a utility to it. There's no becoming here. Because becoming means in future it is going to happen. But Vedanta says, no, you are immortal right now. So there is no becoming also here. Before the knowledge, after the knowledge. It's not like that. So what is this getting attached to knowledge? Because nowadays, this is the tendency we have now. We are all interested in gaining things, wanting to know. That's why what we were studying, what I was studying in 12th standard is the syllabus for the 6th standard student now. 6th standard, 7th standard, they are studying. What we were studying in 11th and 12th. And don't think you're all sattvic because of that. That is why I'm giving all this explanation. Sukha is a different thing. See, you get attached to knowledge. Don't go back to thinking, Namballa sattvic people, sir. Why? Because you want to gain knowledge. You should be interested in knowledge which is non-utilitarian. You see, with the utilitarian, it is not sattva. That is not attachment to knowledge. See, so first you should understand knowledge, and then you have to understand attachment to that knowledge. Knowledge here is what? Non-utilitarian. Why will you get attached to a non-utilitarian knowledge? It will not make any sense. You see, like my father never understood. How come people are coming to your class? He thinks, all of you are off cases. For what? He couldn't believe. He came for this, one of the Guru Purnima lecturers, he came. Are you actually going to give? He said, yes. He came for that. That was the last lecture. Then he attained Mukti. I gave Mukti to my father. Okay. After the lecture, how was it? He said, I can't believe so many people came. Impossible. Knowledge means non-utilitarian. Sattva will make you get attached to something which is non-utilitarian. Rajas will get you attached to utilitarian. Wherever there is utility, it will get attached. Other Rajas. Sattva will not do that. Sattva will get attached to something which is of no use. That's why the quality of musicians, they say, is not as much as, what it used to be, sir, earlier. Why? Before they learn ABCD of music, they start giving performances. The platforms are more now. You see, that wasn't the case earlier. To get an option. Remember, some of the stages to get is not an easy. Now, everywhere available. Anybody can start. You can start speaking. You can start singing. You can start performing. So earlier you start giving it. You have not gone into the depth of it. And once you start seeing people applauding, that will drive you. See, motivation comes. You get applauding. You get applauding. The older musicians, they will get annoyed when you applaud them. Older musicians, some of them, not all of them, they will get annoyed. Now applaud. What are you applauding? What have you understood? Yes, sir, Karagara Priya, Raga, super. The fellow is singing Mohana. They say Karagara Priya, super, sir. This is so difficult, Go for what? What do you appreciate? And more this comes, that will drive you. See, if that recognition is not there, what will happen to you? Even this artist needs to be appreciated. In fact, next time if you go for any performance, an art performance, just clap them. See, when you go for a lecture or a talk and all that, learn to do that. And don't do that here. This is a classroom. I'm talking about, lectures. When you hear someone speaking, because that is what is driving them. Imagine everybody sitting like Buddha in that there. They will not get that right. The tempo will go down. There are older musicians I know. Lesser the crowd, better the singing. More the crowd, quality drops. They say that. He himself says. Now, I don't know why I am like this, but that's what I am. Legendary fellows. Some utility. It's not only, material piece. The only utility you will find in Sattva, that knowledge, is that knowledge itself gives you a sense of sukha. See, there is a sense of that joy. The Gurukulas and all, they say, they learn, chanting. It's avriti they have to do, 1 cycle, 2 cycles, 3 cycles and all that. The best thing they say, all the students who have studied there, the best thing they say is Taniyavriti. Taniyavriti means the fellow will be washing his clothes or, chopping vegetables. At that time, he will be doing the chanting. They will do the chanting alone. Nobody is there. There's no teacher. There's no one. No one is there around them. He is just doing the work. As he is doing the work, he is doing this, which is what they call as Tanyavriti. Alone. You have to do that all alone by yourself. And they say the joy they have, they'll never get in that goshti, the group. Or when they go out to do somewhere, when they perform the yajna, when they do this, do that, nowhere they get that joy. There's no recordings, no nothing, all alone by themselves. That sukha. Or just, that's where people read this Ramayana, Parayanam and all they do. Ramayana or this, Bhagavatam and this text and all that. Just that study, that's all. They are not doing anything. He's not preparing for a lecture. See, he's not preparing for the lectures. Nor is he studying for exam. Nothing is there. Just the reading is something fascinating. There is a sukha in that. In that non-utilitarian knowledge, the effort that you put in to gain that non-utilitarian knowledge, he experiences a sukha. That is a joy, believe me. You may not know that. There is. Right? You get a joy in that. That joy he experiences more and more and more. Therefore, what happens? His pursuit of that knowledge also keeps on increasing more and more and more. Thus, it binds the self to the body. With what? By this combination of knowledge, the effort that you put in to gain that knowledge, to remembering that knowledge, retention of that knowledge. For us, remembrance of knowledge will not give you any kick. Very difficult. 2 plus 2 equals 4. You remember that, no? What kick you get out of it? Have you ever got a kick out of it? 2 plus 2 equals 4? You know that. What kick you get? Nothing you get. He says, just that remembrance of that knowledge, the effort that you put in to gain that knowledge, remembrance of that knowledge, recalling that knowledge, memorization of that knowledge gives a tremendous joy, sukha. Therefore, what he does is he gets into that attachment to that particular sukha. You offer him any other sukha, he will dismiss it. Yeah, keep it to yourself. You keep it to yourself. Like Nachiketa told Yama, you keep all that to yourself. I have nothing from thy hands. I don't want anything from you. Like Christ said, get thee behind me, Satan. You have nothing from thy hands. Why? I have something far better, sukha to experience. What sukha you are going to give? Keep it to yourself. But then this sukha, this jnanam is only vritti jnanam. Reflected knowledge, not the original. That original you miss because you take the reflected to be absolute. That reflected itself is so enchanting. Like Mullah Nazaruddin logic. Between sun and moon, who is important? He said moon is important. Why? Because he gives light in the night. Mullah's logic. The beautiful logic of his. Ada Satvik Sukha, Satvik Jnana. How it binds you. It makes you forget a fact. What is a fact? The moonlight is nothing but sunlight reflected. It is sunlight only. There's no light in the moon. But you can't understand that. Why? Because you don't see the sun. You see only the moon. And you can clearly see the light coming from moon. So when you can clearly see moon is there, sun is absent, darkness, light is coming from moon, obviously you will say which is important. Moonlight is more valuable. Sunlight has one more problem, which moonlight doesn't have. Sunlight is heat, moonlight is cool. Sunlight na heat. Moonlight na it's cool. Brahma Vidya is cool. Brahman is not cool. You know, that's why Vaishnava Sampradaya, they go and do first prostration to Daya Sanati. Lakshmi, Mahalakshmi first. Only then they'll go to Perumal, Vishnu. Vishnu is not reliable. Higher is reliable. Fascinating. Why? She's moon. This fellow is like sun. He will check, are you qualified? Or you're not qualified and all that. Mahalakshmi will not say all that. She will grant, moksha straight away. You have come, no entry. Anyone comes in free entry. Vishnu is not like that. That fellow will check. Are you qualified? What tapas you have done? What jnanam you have? Or you have surrendered? The fact that the fellow has come means surrender, no. Actually, he has come only to check whether you are there or not. He will say, I don't care about all these things. You have come, no, I'll give it to you. That's why these people go to Daya Sanavi first. Vishnu is secondary. Primary is this. Why? So enchanting. She is such a cool one. She is. So moonlight is like that. That's Brahma Vidya. Brahman is hot. Difficult. The Tejas, you can't take it. It's too blinding. See? So he says, how Sattva binds is, it binds you to that Sukha derived from that Jnana. But the problem is, it is Vritti Jnana. Thought, reflected. It's not original. So you take the duplicate to be the original, that is the bondage. You see? Rajas Tamas we'll see next.